something about you.
Y'all, welcome to another episode of the Gold Keys. It has been like a year since I have done one of these interviews, and when I was thinking about people who I would want to sit down with, have conversations with, conversations that matter, conversations that move you, conversations that we need to be having, there was one person in particular that I've had my eyes on for about a good 6 or 7 months now, and I finally have the pleasure of sitting down with him. So I'm going to introduce him. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself, and we'll get started. Jay, how are you, babe?
I am good, kinfolk. I am good. I am good. I'm so happy to be sitting down with you. You know what I mean? Feeling
Yes.
lovely. Feeling
Okay.
lovely. You know what I
Looking
mean? Got cleaned up on them. You feel me? Cleaned up.
looking
Got my
good.
got my
Okay.
mind right. Got my spirit right. You know what I mean?
Come on now. I'm so
Sung a little
happy
bit in the
for you.
mirror. You know how we give it up. You know how
Okay.
we do.
Okay.
How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be sitting with you. I'm not gonna hold you, but I had already had my eyes on you to sit down with you for Go Keys. But what made me want to sit down with you even more is when you DM me. I think it was right after my surgery.
Mm,
And DM me, and we had talked like on the timeline off and on before then, but we had really like had a conversation with each other. And you DM me and you were like, "Look, Kimpo, I know you don't know me from a can of paint, but if you need anything, I'm here. I got you. Even if you need to talk." And don't get me wrong, like there were people who were like reaching out and checking up on me and making sure I'm good. But a lot of it felt very intrusive in a way. It felt very like, let me figure out what you got going on with you type of energy. And I did not feel that from you. And you made good on your word and you checked on me every week after my surgery to see if I needed something. And I take those things to heart. Like I really, really like. And so once that happened and then we had that conversation, what about a month ago, I was like, oh, we locked in. We locked in. So I just want to thank you for sitting down with me. Like I said, this is the first interview for Gold Keys that I've done in like a year. And so I'm excited to be back in front of the camera, especially with you. So I'm going to give you the space just to talk a little bit about yourself. That's my first question. Who are you?
ooh. We doing titles or we just doing what we do? You know what I
Do what you do,
mean?
whatever that includes. What traditions you a
Word,
part of, do it.
word. Okay, okay. So I am, I am a hoodoo. I'm a hoodoo baby through the bone. Bayou baby, representing.
Come on,
You know what I
baby.
mean? And I'm backwood Southern Baptist. You know what I mean? For my people that don't know, we back there with it. We back there in the woods with it. I come from grandparents that wore overalls and straw hats and you know what I mean, country. We was out there line dancing, you know what I mean? I learned how to shoot at a young age. I'm that country boy. You know what I
Come on
mean?
now.
And I stand on that as a countryman and love the fact where my ancestors have me today. You know what I mean? And even in my learnings, like it brought me to a space of stepping into Onisheshe or Isheshe, um, Ifa for people that don't know, and it's in that space. I'm an Omo Awo. I'm a baby priest. You know what I mean? I'm a Olorisha. For SU. Shout out to my people, my SU babies. You know what I mean? We out here. We out here. But unfortunately, I couldn't wear. I want to represent today, but one of my taboos in that tradition is wearing red. I can't wear red. One of
Mm.
Eshu's colors is red. You know what I mean? So I had to give it up how I give it up. So I,
Okay.
I
Well, you look
represented for
good
my
in
mama.
yellow, cousin.
You know it. The yellow. My mama's Oshun, so I'm on it. You know what I mean? I'm on it. So either way, we locked in. Either way, and
Either way.
I I literally have other things that I can do. You know what I mean? As far as being a lunar magus, a Reiki master, Usui Reiki, um, a practitioner for holy fire. Um, I love holy fire as a practitioner space. I'm not looking to teach in that space. That's basically just me healing my line, healing my family, healing myself. Usui Reiki, yes, I'm teaching in that space. I'm giving wisdom in that space. But and for me, I just like to get my hands dirty. You know what I mean? I like to mess with animals. I like to be outside playing in the ground. I've been that way since I was a kid. You know what I mean? I grew up around animals. You know what I mean? I'm yeah. When I say country, I mean like country for real. Like we was like raising rabbits and playing with chickens, and we had a name for a raccoon that came occasionally. You know what I mean? Not like that. So
You
we
know, I
was that.
know.
We was that. You know what I mean? And yeah, like I'm gonna keep a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep a little bit. I just want, just I'm cool with that. But I'm always here. I'm always here. And it's to me, I want to give my purpose, my mission statement, if I could, before we step into the next question. Um,
Absolutely.
for me, I'm big on community, and I know everybody won't see that the same. But for me, if we locked in, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I'm sorry, I'm one of those people that was raised by the people that was like, hey, good, bad, and indifferent. We're gonna get free. You know what I mean?
Period.
You know what I mean? That's just how I am. I don't do this. I'm not a switch up person. I ain't, you know what I mean? So if we really locked in, you got me. You got me. You know what I mean? And I send love to anybody that's out there trying. That's it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Just as long as you trying, I love you. You know what I mean? It's when you don't try is when you fail. Everything else is a win to me.
That right there. So I heard you say that you are a part, and of course, you listed your traditions that you're a part of. And you said that some came through lineage and others came through you just what to do you. So for actually, I guess I can ask that about both of them because just because something comes through your lineage doesn't mean that you have to partake.
All right.
So my question would be, what made you interested? What gave you that call, that pull to want to be a part of these traditions?
For me, hoodoo wasn't a choice. That was my grandmother. That was just my grandmother. I mean, she had me up early learning stuff early. You know what I mean? And she kept a lot of stuff between us, you know what I mean? And a lot of people just, oh, grandma just do this stuff. She just, she got her little things she do. But she was telling me different on the side, you know what I mean? When people gone and it's just me and her, she talk real
Mhm.
different. And that's one of the things I learned about communicating in these spaces. That for me, and to really embrace hoodoo is the fact that when you're around your loved ones in hoodoo, the language is different.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's different, and
Absolutely.
that's what made me embrace it. If I don't want to say it's gatekeepy kind of, but I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Because I want to put emphasis on the fact that that's how I learned what closeness and community was. You know what I mean? My grandmother's friends, I was their grandchildren too when I was with them. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? I have great uncles that ain't blood related. You know what I mean? I got guys from other parts of my family that were family friends because of the love that was shown to me as a child. When they transition, they still there. That's hoodoo.
Mhm.
That's hoodoo. You know what I mean? It's love beyond realms. It's knowing that life is never ending. Life is going like this is just moving into another space of living after this.
Mhm.
And with that, we carry our love, we carry our promises, we carry our joys with us. And who wouldn't fall in love with that? You know what
I know I did.
I
And I
mean?
love, I feel like we connect on that level in that way because for people who follow me on social media or have been in the live or what have you, I speak a lot about my grandparents. My grandmother, I wasn't able to really connect with here physically because she transitioned when I was 2 years old. But I had my grandfather, and my grandfather raised me up until I was like 8 or 9 years old. And even then, after that, because he started to get sick, he was still very much so in my life. So when I hear you talk about your grandmother and talk about how when y'all get by yourself, that conversation changed a little bit, I could definitely identify with that. And I feel like so many other people can too. Um, and then you said something to the effect of you're okay with it being gatekeeping in that way. And it's like sometimes you almost have to. And we talk about it, within our tradition, but sometimes things ain't to be shared with everybody else, especially familial lineage based things. Like that's not to be shared with everybody else. So I definitely commend the folk who are upholding that within our tradition. Like to me, it's getting to be one of those things where if it's for you, you'll know it's for you. You're not going to have to go search and try to find this. The things that you need are going to come to you, and you're not going to have to force it. So that's beautiful. I love that truly.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I don't think I did. I touch on E5. I don't think I touched on E5.
No, you didn't.
Okay. Okay. I'll make it really quick. For E5. Okay, so a part of my other side was y'all. Please don't be upset. All right, voodoo was the other side, and I had come into spaces with that, and E5 kept popping up for me. And for me, after the fifth time of being in the space of that popping up, I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like my head getting slapped like after the third time. Like I
Yeah,
feel like my people like, hey, wake up. This is like we're showing you something here.
yeah.
And it's what was weird for me was like in my ancestry, when I was doing my research for my genealogy, I had people in that space that were from Nigeria. You know what I
Wow.
mean? And they were like then going further, they were like there's different tribes in my family, which also led to, like I mentioned, voodoo. But going into some of these spaces, it was like, why do I feel this pull? And then something happened. I was a part of a bembe, and I got mounted,
Mm,
and it's I'll have to tell you that story like off because
yeah.
that's wild. But from what I was told, I started behaving very like a like a like a silly old man,
Mm,
and laughing and drinking drinking gin like water. I had this humongous bottle of gin. I was because you do your things and you go through your libations and everything. But
mhm.
I drunk most of this bottle, and when I actually realized that I came out of what was happening and I could actually like feel myself, I wasn't drunk. I felt
That's
nothing.
wild.
I felt nothing. And I'm like, what just happened is like, hey man, I think you might have been like mounted out. You might have, I don't know if you felt like you blacked out or what, but we know what happened to you and we'll explain it to you.
Yeah.
And it just so happened like I was with some elders and they were just having a field day because elders clown, they go to roasting you, you know what I
Mm,
mean? And they was looking at me, they was like, look at little SU. Look at little SU. He over there
not little
giggling,
issue.
giggling. And I just kept like that entire rest of that evening, like I just kept having a laughing fit,
Yeah.
like uncontrollable. Like it like things weren't even funny. And I just found them like amusing. And then my elders that set me down, they were like, okay, so that's not you. I want you to know that everything that you're feeling and you might feel for like the next hour or so, it might not be you.
Mm.
And I need you to understand that's a piece of you, and that's why you're called to as a child of this one. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And sure enough, everything that came out in the it was exactly right. It was exactly right.
That's
That's how
wild.
I found out my head by being mounted. It's just
Mm.
very different.
I bet.
Yeah, I got my reading. Of course, I got my reading and everything. Like I got all of that, but I went through the
Yeah.
whole process. And but that's that. Like,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. But for me, like that was a clear choice of a route that I needed to take.
That's so dope. That's so dope. So while we were sitting here, a question popped into my head. I really would like
Mhm.
to know your thoughts on it. So we know that um in a lot of our traditions, and I can only speak to hoodoo because I'm a hoodoo and I don't speak on traditions that I'm not a part of. But
Got you.
I know within hoodoo, um, it's a lot of us women folk, right?
Mhm.
How do you feel, or what do you feel is the how can I word it? Like how important is it for you for men folk to be in the conversation also? And I feel like this is important because in experiences that I've had, unfortunately we had some not so savory men
Mhm.
folk, within our
Mhm.
traditions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So how
Okay.
important do you feel it like it is for men to show up differently in our traditions?
And show up differently, um, like without being weird.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's very important, and I say that, but at the same time, I want to say this. Um, there's a lot of healing to do,
Absolutely.
especially for us, and I say that for me, um, most of my 99% of my teachers were women.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And so I have my grandmother's heart, and so a lot of the spaces that I enter don't understand how I operate. You know what I mean? Because they're not used to a masculine man still having that kind of heart.
right.
You know what I mean? And that goes for that's not just like women, but men too. Because I
Mm,
enter spaces and men don't know how to respond to a man saying, "Hey brother, I love you, I see you." You know what I mean? They don't know how to respond to that. So
right.
that let me know a lot of these people like they're needing to be seen. They're needing men are needing to be seen by each other as equal, as equal. You know what I mean? Because when you step into the spiritual, I mean, the least you see in this realm is holding it down in the spiritual.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's that the play is putting on airs in this realm, but it doesn't matter when you get to the other side.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And for me, for men, like we one of the things that I work at, and especially building the forge, which is we'll get into a later. Um, we need to bring a rites of passage back for men.
Mm,
You know what I mean? We need to have spaces that, just like women have spaces that are just for women, we need spaces for men that are just for men. That way, men can, hey, hold on now. You know what I
and
mean?
I think
Because
that's important. I think that's really important because I feel like I know how it feels as a woman when another woman comes to me and be like, "Look, when you being called to the carpet by another woman. And I think that's important for men too, because I feel like sometimes it feels like an attack when it's coming from the
Mm-hmm.
opposite end. You know what I'm saying? Even when
Mm-hmm.
it's done in love, even when it's done in wanting to preserve and protect our traditions. I
Right.
feel like, and that's why I'm so glad you just brought up the forge, because I think what you're doing with that is beautiful. And I think those spaces are so needed because, like I just said, it's different when you are being not only just tossed to the carpet, but nurtured and held up to a standard by somebody who can understand you in that way. I think that's really important.
For for I want to suggest something. Two things, if I can.
Absolutely.
For the men that are going to listen to this, I want to give you two little pieces of advice that will aid you. Um, find you an elder woman to counsel you. You need an elder man, of course, but you also need an elder woman to counsel you. And they're going to shift your heart space, and you're going to heal in a way you never thought possible. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest ways that allowed me to rebound is that I have a group of elder women that I also go to, like, hey, check me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
And you know they
And
will.
yeah, yeah, and giving them the space to do so, and having the humbling myself in a way that says, hey, I'm here to listen. In this space, I am your student. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
that's and the second piece of advice I want to give men is to also get a female friend with and not come at her like on some porn type stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get an actual friend and actually love that person like you talking to your sister.
Mm,
You
come
know what I
on with it.
mean? Because that person is going to show you not only who they are, but they're going to show you about yourself
Mm,
in some of the unsavory ways, but in a lot of the ways that are actually hidden in you that are very good.
mm,
You know what I mean? And I say that because we're operating from a deficit in this healing space, men are. You
mm.
know what I mean? So why would you not get an ally that has already been ahead of the game? Why not? Why
Right.
not have it's like having an advisor for your business. Why not?
It
Why
can't
not?
hurt. It can only help.
Right, right. If you got, and especially if you got a woman that's a legit goddess, like that's balanced and not on some like power trip ego stuff, man, she will give you the game. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And not when I say the game, I'm not talking about like relationships. I'm talking about
Yes.
self. You know what I mean? And what you will stand and won't stand for, because she will tell you, hey, you ain't we ain't fucking with that, right? We're not doing that,
Yes.
right? You know what I mean? And men need that.
Mhm.
Men need that because a lot of men we kind of, oh man, you crazy in that situation. Like it's like, oh man, you crazy. Come on, man. And when it's really not a laughing matter, like hey, bro, like cut it out.
Yes.
Cut it out. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we need. I think that's what we need. We really need that. You know. But I hope I answered your question. So
Absolutely. You absolutely did. So that you have the foundation of who you are and the tradition that you are a part of. You know, we talk about creativity and creative gifts on this channel as well. So I know what your gift is, but tell the people what you gifted in.
whew, one of my favorite gifts is being a seer. Is
Okay.
being a seer. You know what I mean? Um, that's my first gift I learned. That's the gift that's been passed down in my family. Is being a seer. And I'm a but how do I say? I'm a bridge watcher. You know what I mean? I keep the bridge. I'm in between realms all the time. You know what I mean? The comings and goings, you probably pass me. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that's just keeping it 1,000. You know, um, for me, oof. Of course, I had a healing hands, the land of the hands. Like, you know, got that. You know, I just had to switch it up a little bit and call it Reiki for the people that need titles. You know what I mean? They
Okay.
don't, you know what I mean? They don't have a laying of the hand certificate.
Okay.
Like, we
Okay.
might need to be hmm, opportunity.
Okay. Look, you see, these are like be a
Listen,
leg of a certificate.
listen, and like being a spiritual counselor, I know how to get to the heart space of others. That's one of my biggest things outside of being a seer. Is because I took time to get to my own. You know what I mean? And getting to the heart space is what's needed. And
Yeah.
so, you know what I mean? I'm
So
I do the whole like spiritual counseling thing, which I'll probably kick back up here soon. But when the people say is yeah, you know,
yeah,
it'll happen.
right. So while we're talking about getting to the heart space, one of my favorite things about you is the music side of you. Um, I don't always because child ADHD squirrel is squirrelish up here, okay? But
Understood.
when I
Understood.
do see you tweet about your radio show and especially when you're playing a like dope collection of music, I'm intrigued. And I feel like for you, correct me if I'm wrong, that's one of the ways that you share your heart space with people. Just because prior conversations that we've had and how passionate you are about music, and I feel like that's a lot of the way that we meet each other is because you know I love music too. And so, talk a little bit about how your love for music and your love for your spirituality, how they meet in the middle, and what that looks like.
I want to share something, and this is going to be exclusive. This is going to be a Gold Keys exclusive. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? A lot of people don't know this about my show, but in my show, as you're listening, you're actually getting a long distance Reiki healing treatment in my show.
that is so dope.
And a lot of people don't realize like that's why you may sit in the space of feeling softened or needing to release or emptying your heart space or feeling recharged or feeling like you want to groove and you got to tell somebody about this song or something like that because I'm literally charging people and cleansing people off in the middle of my show. That's
You know what's wild? I can't remember the last one that I was in, but you were playing like oldies. And that already had me on one because I love me a good oldie. I love me a good 60s, 70s esque oldie, okay?
come on
And
now.
like that's the type of music that just makes you feel warm. And
Come
I
on.
can't
Yep.
remember what day it was, but I was sitting here listening to it as I was working. And I was just like thinking to myself how like music to me, because for me, music is magical. I don't care what nobody say. Like when you think about the frequencies of it, when you think about the group that pops into my mind is Earth, Wind, and Fire, and how they were very peculiar in
Famous.
the way. Okay, how they were very peculiar in the way in which they constructed music, right? And so when you have a group, and I'm just using Earth, Wind, and Fire just because, but when you have a group like Earth, Wind, and Fire, who's already making you feel all of these things because of the frequency in which your music exists, and then you throw Reiki on top of that, bro, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You really out
Mm-hmm.
here trying to have us love on each other, ain't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's for me, that's the answer to a lot of the things that's going on. You know what I mean? and I love from a very open, sentimental space. You know what I mean? And the type of music, it's to me, it's like I'm giving a collective message
Ooh,
in my music. You know what I
this
mean?
is chills.
Yeah, yeah. Like and speaking of Earth, Wind, and Fire, they're one of my favorites. So I'm gonna keep it on them too, because they're super prophetic. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Super prophetic. If anybody that don't believe me, go listen to Devotion. Just go listen to
mm,
Devotion. You know what I mean? Like listen to the words and then go and look at your people and
mm,
see, don't that light switch on, like hey, I think I might need to lead with more devotion. Like that's,
mm.
you know what I mean? My people, my loved ones to me are blessings. They're sacred to me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's to me, that's what that song is embodying, the sacredness of togetherness of your loved ones, you know what I mean? Of loving on people and in this environment and the world at large. You know what I mean?
Mm,
That's they speak to a lot of that. A lot of that. Just go through their catalog and just soak it in. Just soak in the messages because they were ahead of their time
yes,
in
they
a
were.
lot of ways. A lot.
I was
And
watching, I think it was a documentary on YouTube that I was
mhm,
watching. Because I don't know if you remember, like maybe 2 weeks ago, there was this huge like conversation about Earth, Wind, and Fire on Twitter in the spiritual
yep.
spaces. But in this documentary that I was watching, it was saying how when they first, I think when they first got together and they were first starting to like travel and stuff like that,
Mhm,
before they got signed, they went or they had an astrologer on board. It told them what day to go, what to perform, this, that, and the third, which
mhm.
inevitably led to them getting signed. Like things like I was like, because like I've always loved Earth, Wind, and Fire. Again, raised by my grandparents. Child, my grandparents was not playing no 90s hip hop, R&B, nothing in the house. It was strictly old school, okay? And so I heard a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire and stuff like that. And I never understood why, even as an adult, like every time I listen to them, it sounds like I'm listening to them for the first time. Like I
Mm,
don't care how many times I hear a song. I don't care how many, like I don't care. It always feels like I'm listening to that for the first time. So my next question to you would be like, when you are, well, first off, let's start by talking about your radio show. Talk about your radio show. Like where
um,
because amazing.
listen, I'm always on station head Fridays at 8 p.m. Central and Saturdays at 12:21 Central. Fridays is just my Venus day. My loved ones, we get together. I do requests. I let people like they got a sound on their heart that they've been experiencing or feeling. Send that over and I'll play it for everybody else too. You never know who might need that song that you've been listening to. You know
Okay.
what I mean? And for that show has been so much fun because I have people that'll come on there and they'll try to match my energy. So if I'm playing 70s and 80s music, they're going to want to keep it in that space too. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And I've had some people offer up some great music. You know what I mean? So much so that I'm actually coming up with a vibes from the tribe playlist. You know what I mean?
hey,
You know what I mean? So it's whoever's been on the show, whoever's participated, friends, loved ones, kinfolk, because I keep them separate. They they're gonna get a piece of that playlist. Like they're gonna get time, and whoever wants to, I'm gonna leave the when I drop that playlist on the show, I'm gonna leave the call button open so anybody that has anything to do with the playlist can jump in, and we can talk or whatever on the show, and you can request more if that's what
that
you're
is
trying to
so
do.
dope.
You know what I
That is
mean?
so dope.
But Soul Stirring Sounds is my Saturday. That's my stable. That's my baby. We've been together for a little bit over a year now.
Okay.
So Soul Stirring Sounds is literally my transmutation station. You know what I mean? It's all about loving vibes. I try to keep it in a space to where I'm not playing any music that's talking negative about anybody.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I don't, I try to keep that space very, very vibey. I might even play music that make you dance. I might play some music that might make you cry, but you're gonna always feel something. You're gonna always feel something. You know what I mean? And that particular show was not only a love offering to the collective, but it was healing work for me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I don't like, I want to give a little background because I don't want to take too much longer on this question, but Soul
Okay.
Stirring Sounds came 2 weeks after I had a stroke.
Mm.
Literally my first episode, I was like a little bit out of the hospital. Like when I like and I something I've been wanting to do it. I didn't have it in me to even advertise for it. And I just I just asked for music. I asked my people to like let me channel some music to just play. I just want to do something to, you know, to give what I need.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And in that space, um, it was me and it was one other person. Shout out to my kinfolk D. He was the only one. He was my only listener. He was my first listener, and it was just me and him just jamming out for like an hour. And um, at the end of the show, I wound up giving a message that's probably one of my strongest messages to date, and it was the power of loving people exactly where they are.
Mm. Come on with it.
You know what I mean? And like that's for me, the collective, the kinfolk, the loved ones that's a part of Soul Stirring Sounds. That's my love for them is in that music. You know what I mean? And I accept them. I don't try to change people that's in that space. I don't try to make them think how I think. I just give them what I have, and that's it. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
that's my story.
Ooh, that just gave me chills, especially where you said you asked your folks to give you something that you need, to channel something that you need. And that's why I feel like, as creatives who also meet at this intersection in this crossroads of our gifts and our traditions, I think it's so important that we ask those things of our people, because that's one of the biggest reasons why I started to talk so much and focus my brand around creativity as a spiritualist, because the way in which the way in which our gifts come across sometimes can show up in things like our love of music, our love of books, our love of writing, our love
Come
of
on now.
drawing. Whatever, it shows
Come
up
on
so
now.
differently. And that's a message that I really want to push to people. Like, like your spiritual gifts don't have to look like you sitting crisscross applesauce in the middle of your floor chanting. It, like, they don't always look like that. Sometimes it looks like being engulfed in music. Like when we were talking earlier, and I told you like today was such a good day. Like a big part of that was, yeah, I was in this office working, but I had these headphones on, like, and I was listening to music the entire time, and it was just, it took me somewhere else effortlessly. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just
Yeah.
want people to understand that, like, that's my whole mission. And that's why I want to sit down with people like you, because it's so important that we understand that all of our gifts are not going to look the same. All of the ways in which we are spoken to spiritually and energetically are not going to look the same. And it's important that we look at ourselves first. And that's why I think it's so important that you said, give me something to channel that is for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was such a powerful powerful statement to me. Like that hit me in the chest real quick. Um, so you just honestly, by you saying all that, you answered a majority of the questions that I have. So we'll go off the fly a little bit. If you had to pick I would say three favorite musicians or artists, who would they be and
Ooh,
why?
ooh, any genre?
Any genre.
Ooh,
You know we
oh,
eclectic over here.
oh, yeah. This is a very. I love this question because it's super challenging for me. It's
Good.
super challenging for me because I love music. Like I'm listening. Like I'm a musician too, so I'm listening to compositions, notes. Like I'm listening in between the beat. I'm there. You know what I mean? So for me, number one, I have to say Jimi Hendrix is my soul father. Like that's my one. That's my soul father.
What
Jimi
made him your
Hendrix.
what?
His story, not just his story, but the fact that he was an outlier. He had
Mm-hmm.
he it's what I loved about him is that he didn't give up. He played the same music where he was and it didn't get nowhere. So you know what he did? He took it somewhere else and he did the
So
same
well.
thing. You know what I mean? Same thing. And it's interesting because so many hoodoos don't see the blues in Jimi Hendrix.
And I don't
Jimi
know how
Hendrix,
that is. Like he's never a topic of conversation. Like
like at all, but he is an exceptional bluesman, exceptional.
yes.
Like okay, so for I could talk about him all day. I'm so enamored. Like that's yeah. I went to his exhibit like and everything in Seattle. Yeah, like yeah,
Wow. I didn't even know that.
grave site, everything. Yeah, like yeah, like I'm about Jimi Hendrix for real. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so for him, and then my oof, you got me good with this one. My second favorite musician would be Clyde from the JBs.
mm-hmm.
Um, if anybody know about the JBs, that's James Brown's band. Like, and he's the drummer.
Okay.
So if anybody like for the spell for like originally he was like that guy. I know it switched up down the line, but
Mhm.
but those patterns that people know and love in hip hop, that's Clyde. You know what I mean? And that's oh, and I'm gonna try to keep it. I'm gonna try to update it because I was gonna actually take it older on my last one, so I'll update it. One of my I will say one of my favorite singers today, and I'll keep her. I will say that she's an underdog because I can name older artists, but I want to say Ari Lennox is like
Yeah.
my
Oh,
and I've been trying to like be in her messages to like get her to do this specific song because I'm like you need to sing this, but I know that's wrong with me. I know that's wrong as a musician to another musician. I know you shouldn't tell somebody what else to sing, but that particular like that artist, she has a voice that just don't quit. You know
like
what I
no
mean?
other.
And she's very underrated to me. And her songwriting and just the way that she carried the notes like in between the rhythm, I'm like, y'all missing out. Y'all missing out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's my three. That's my three. Ooh, that was tough. Ooh.
If
That was tough. Yeah,
I had to
just three.
choose my three, I would say it's probably gonna trip you out for real. So of course my first would be Ray Charles. I'm a Huge Ray Charles fan. Second would have to be, and this is gonna be the one to trip you out.
Okay. Okay.
The second would have to be Johnny Cash. Yeah, yeah. Me and Mr. Cash are like that. Yeah. Um, if we're gonna keep it in the same trajectory as far as like time, artists of now, God, that's tough because I feel like what's happening now within music is there is a lot of which I mean it happens in every generation, but for whatever reason right now I feel like it's oversaturated is the sampling and the redoing of and the like.
Mm,
To me, that is fine to do that because of
mm,
course history repeats itself. But I don't feel like there's a lot of like new, fresh energy in our spaces today. So it's hard for me to kind of pick an artist now because I don't listen to 2024 music like that. I really don't. The 90s. So going with that, I would have to say like my favorite 90s artist, which would be recent for me, is Faith Evans.
okay. I could see that. I could
The
see
thing
that.
that the thing she
Yeah.
does with her voice.
She has a magnificent voice. Absolutely.
Yes. I remember being young and being so enamored with her. Like, and I was like obsessed to the point where like she would I'm talking about like 6, 7 years old. She would come on the radio and I would know exactly who it is. I don't care if it's a song I never heard before. I would pick her voice up. Like I love voices like that. Like her voice, and I think that's why I like Ari Lennox so much too. Very distinct voice. Like there's no way you can turn on the radio and she be on the radio, you don't know that's her because she don't sound like nobody else.
Right.
And so I
Right.
love that. I love that. So my last question would be: what advice would you give someone who is wanting to merge their creative expression with their spirituality and their spiritual gifts?
Do it. Do it.
This is why me and you were here because that would be my answer.
Like like experiment, right? Like, and this is like, and step out of your comfort zone with it. And I say that because this space right now is me practicing what I preach. I'm not a video person. I'm not, you know what I mean? I do my readings. Like when I was doing my readings, I would do video readings. But as far as like messages and all that stuff, I felt so wound up just to do that kind of stuff. And let this be a testament to those that are wanting to try and feel it calling to try something. Try it. You know what I mean? Just keep your protection up. Keep your protection up. Work your workings. But if you feel called to do it, answer the call. I mean, answer the call. It's and be okay. Be okay with however it turned out,
That is key.
because it's not. It's everything. Everything isn't going to be the thing, but everything that you attempt is your thing, and that's the most important. You know what I mean? It's not about the claim to fame, and when it comes to this, it comes to you putting yourself into it and how much of yourself that you're willing to put into what you do. You know what I mean? That's the most important part. Put yourself into it. Be authentic, be present. And when I say be authentic, I mean be authentically you. Don't be authentically someone else. Like be you. Everybody ain't meant to do the same thing like you said. I want to give you your like you know what I mean, like you said. So,
Thank you.
you know, um that is monumental because once you find your thing, can't nothing stop you. Can't
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
stop you. You know what I mean? Like for me, I used to want to sing. So I like now I sing all the time. I was shunned from singing. I was doing talent shows. I had to heal from the fact that my people at the time didn't want me to step into that space because of industry stuff. But now, for me, I'm doing music my way, my way, my
Right.
way. Radio show. I sing to myself. I even record some stuff every now and then. I do. I do. Why? Because it's for me. And who can stop that? Nobody. Do the same for you. Nobody can stop you when it's yours, when it's for you, when you know it's your calling. Nobody can stop you. No matter how many mistakes you made, no matter what you did in your past, it will not define your destiny. It won't. It won't. Why? Because love is beyond your mistakes. It's only us as humans in this form that hold faults over people's head. It's only us. We're the judge and jury of other people that don't even have the wherewithal to build a heaven for themselves, and we're already trying to put them in hell.
You better talk that talk. Because
You know what I
Jesus.
mean? Like only thing on like for you, for newbies, for my new loved ones, for the little babies in this tradition, just just be you, man. Love on you. And there's people gonna be out here that's ready to love on you too. And you're gonna have your faults. And you're not gonna get everything right. And that's okay. You're going to mess up. I want you to know that now. You're going to mess up. And that's okay. Because that's how the older people learned. They messed up. That's how we know how to get things right now because they messed up. And besides,
Absolutely.
the biggest thing about this, the whole thing, is that you're elevating your ancestors by you stepping into your thing. You're elevating your people. You're literally lifting them up and magnifying your essence, your people's essence that flow through you. You're literally doing the work by living in your purpose. Literally.
Because some of them did not get the chance to.
That's right.
And it's a sad reality. It's a sad reality to know how much, or not even how much, but just where we came from
Come on, cuz.
and the talent that we come from. And to me, that is like so sad because when you think about just the raw gift and the raw talent that lie within some of our ancestors and some of our
Come
dead,
on,
like that,
kinfolk.
and they never got the chance, like
Come
for
on,
what,
kinfolk.
whether it be because of, you know what I'm saying, capitalism or racism or any other ism that you could think of, they did not have the chance to do that. And I look at it like, because for me, like I come from pastors and ministers and church folk, but then on the flip side of that, I also come from birth workers
Come on
and,
now.
doulas and midwives. And
Come on
so
now.
when I'm struggling with, okay, am I supposed to be doing this, or however we feel about the things that we feel like we want to do but are
Mm,
scared to, one
mm.
thing that has really helped me is to ask myself, would it be a disrespect to your folks to not do this? For the folks who had to struggle to be doulas and had to struggle to be midwives and had to, like, how would they feel about you letting this thing lie dormant within you because of the gaze of other people and how they're going to feel about it, or your own gaze, your own insecurities? So he's absolutely right in that stance. Do it. Point blank period. Do it. It does. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter about what it looks like for other people. And I think, especially in our generation and right now, we get so hung up on what everybody else feels about what it is that we do. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, if it's, and I think I said this on TikTok the other day, it starts with you. It starts with you. How do you feel about what you're doing? How does it make you feel? Because I know when I open up this laptop and I start click clapping away on them keys when I'm writing, I feel amazing. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Is it important that people like what I write? Sure. But if nobody brought a copy of Foolish for the rest of my life, I would be okay with that because I didn't write that for everybody else to start with. I wrote that for me, and everybody else effed with it. So absolutely do it for you and do it for your gays and do it for the elevation of your people who could not do it for whatever reason.
Come on. You better conjure.
You already know. You
Shoot.
already know. So I'm not gonna hold you too long, but I do want to, and I probably should have said this to you before we started recording, but I totally forgot. I do want to announce that me and the SoulBrothaJay over here have been in talks about a lot of things. And for some of you, this is going to be your first time hearing this because I haven't really talked about it outside of my email list, which you should be signed up for. What are you doing? But I don't call Curated South for no reason. Everything that I do with Curated South is curated. It's an experience, and it's an experience that you're able to put together the way that you need to experience it. So, one of the things that really, which is why I was so excited to sit down with Jay today, is because one of the things that really segued or pushed me to do Curated South was music. I want to say back in like, oh God, was this 2020, 2021, I think. I started off making two playlists for Conjure Folk, for the Hoodoo. So I have a hood conjure playlist and I have a churchy conjure playlist because those are the realms that Mecca existed, okay? And people love them. They like to this day, those both of those playlists get plays all the time. And so when I was thinking about curating stuff, I was thinking about how I can make it different, how I can make it different but personable. And I came up with the idea of every set collection of incense that I have on curatedsouth.com will have a playlist to go with it. Now, the initial idea was to put it on like a postcard or something like that and ship it with the orders. Unfortunately, because of Spotify's terms and conditions, I could not do that. So I am maneuvering a way in which I could do that. But in the meantime, I think it's very important that y'all know that me and Jay are collaborating on a playlist that I am very, very, very excited about. And I feel like if any playlist is going to be the heart of Curated South, it's going to be this one because y'all just need to go and check out his radio show. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I have never popped into one of his radio shows and not caught a vibe ever. So if you see me retweet it, make sure actually, of course, I'm going to put all his information down to follow him in the description bar of this video. But if you follow him and you see he's live, go check it out. Okay, like there should be no reason for you not to go check it out. Like when I say the vibes be vibing, like this is I can turn this on and clean my whole house on a Saturday morning type music. Like go check it out. So I'm excited about this playlist. I will be talking more about it, in future content, but I do want y'all to know that this is a thing that we are collaborating because I want to do a lot more collaborations with my kinfolk this year in 2024 because it's important for us to do that. And this is my way of practicing what I preach. Okay, so please be on the lookout for that playlist as other playlists are also going to come. Jay, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me. It has been a pleasure.
Love, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Make sure you guys follow Curated South, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you always know when to catch a vibe. I'm going to put Jay's information down there. Follow, support, push the culture forward, okay? Because, baby, we turn it into the new elders.
Come on now.
Wake that up. Do it the right way. Okay. I love y'all. This has been an amazing episode, and I will be back for more episodes. Be great, get bread, stay all the way live, and with everything being intentional. Have the week you conjure, and I will talk to y'all later.